All right, well, I think we are live now. So if you guys are any attendees there, then drop a message in the chat so we know that you can hear and see us properly. Because I've not used the software before, so if you are watching, just drop a message so we know. And then we'll get started in a couple of minutes, give people a chance to join any straddlers. I'm actually just going to join as well on my other computer just so I can check people can see the stuff okay when we do the screen sharing. Right. Cool. So I think the guys at We Prep FBA are here. It's a prep center for anyone who doesn't know.
Guys.
Looks like from the attendees we've got Jonathan in as well. Jonathan, you can hear us all right? Let us know. I think it's Nathan. If it is Nathan, let me know if you can hear and see us both okay. And then we'll get started in a minute because I think people should be here now. All right, I've joined as a guest as well and I can see everything all right at the moment. All right, cool. Okay, still got a few people joining in now. This is actually pretty cool. I can see on their screen that someone's joined on their mobile, so that'll be interesting to see what appears. Cool. All right, Nathan said he can see and hear perfectly. So I guess if anyone does join in late, they can catch the replay. So I think we might as well get going. So for those who don't know, my name's Luke Filer from, oh, Susan says no sound. That's not ideal. I think Nathan said he can hear us all right. Maybe try and rejoin Susan or in your settings, I'm not sure. I think it's working for other people. All right, well, we'll get going anyway. All right, so for those who don't know, my name's Luke Filer from iGen Entrepreneur. And I'm joined here by Leigh today, who's kindly volunteered his time from RepricerExpress, and we're going to be talking about sort of repricing in general, and obviously with a bit of a focus on RepricerExpress, which I've recently started using for my repricing, and obviously Leigh works for them. So Leigh, do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at RepricerExpress, and then we'll get cracking.
Yeah, so I work in the support team at RepricerExpress. Hi everybody, my name's Leigh. Been kind of working with Amazon for 10 plus years. Running the same experience myself. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Good. So yeah, so we've, as I sort of posted around Facebook and emails, if you do have any questions to let us know in advance. We do have a few questions which we'll be answering at the end, but at any point during this, if you ask a question in the chat, we can flag it and then come back to it, and we'll answer all those at the end of the webinar. All right, I'm now going to hand over to Leigh, who's going to talk a bit about the overview for this webinar session.
All right, hi guys. So yeah, we've kind of went through the introduction already. The next thing we're going to move on to is just a demo of our software itself, so you guys can see the dashboard and stuff, and I'll talk a bit about how it works. And then we've got a few tips on how to use the software, and then kind of the differences between RepricerExpress and Amazon's free service. And then I'm going to hand you back to Luke, who's going to talk about his experience with RepricerExpress. And then, as Luke's already mentioned, then we'll be able to get a chance to answer some questions at the end. And we also have a special offer for you guys as well that we can go over. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this up, guys. I'll just be 1 moment. Okay, Look, can you see that okay, yeah? Okay guys, sorry, I just lost sound, I think.
Can see that fine. If anyone wants a bigger view of that screen, what you can do is there's a little circle with a line through it next to the chat box, and if you click that, it makes the camera smaller and you can see a bigger screen. I think there's also a full screen button which you can use.
Okay, all right, so we'll just get started. So this is the dashboard. This is the screen that you'll see on login, and it just gives you kind of like an overview of what's going on in your account. You'll see just along the top here, it'll tell you how many SKUs you're repricing. Down at the bottom, you've got my channels. See, we've got Amazon UK, Amazon Germany, and eBay all linked, and it kind of gives you the numbers per channel down here. It also gives you need min max. So need min max is basically any new listings. So RepricerExpress will automatically download any new listings that you add from the marketplace every few hours. So they'll show on here, and you'll know that's new ones that you need to set min max on. The listings won't actually reprice until you set a min max, so they'll sit there until you do that. It'll also give you how many is at a fixed price. You might not want to reprice a few items, and then it just gives you kind of what repricing status some of your listings are, so how many you're the lowest on, minimum, max, and you get a line graph and a pie chart, which kind of shows you the same data there as well. So this is the repricing dashboard. There's also a sales dashboard. We don't have any sales because it's a demo account, but it'll just give you like an overview of the past 30 days of your sales. And another good one is the buy box chart. Again, the data isn't great in this account because it's a demo account, but it will basically give you your buy box ownership for the past 30 days. So it's good to keep an eye on that and see how you're doing and if you're improving or not improving. And sort of can help indicate if you need to make any changes. Just want to go up here and show you guys an inventory screen. So my inventory channel overview. So this will just be all of your products, where you can look for them again, see what repricing status they are. You'll notice we have channel overview and product detail tab. So channel overview is basically, you'll see here we've got a column for Amazon UK and Amazon Germany. This will show all of your channels, whereas you can click into product detail. Let's see, we'll just do a quick search for all active listings on Amazon UK. You see there's a bit more data. So tells you how much stock's available, the last date it was back into stock, what rule it's on, your minimum and maximum, the competition, which is the lowest and highest price on the listing on Amazon, your price, what position you are, and the buy box price. You notice there's a few 20 pluses here, and then there's like 1, 2, 4. Basically, how Amazon repricing works is they will give repricing information on the top 20 sellers. So we don't have any information on sellers above that. So if you're outside the top 20, you may see that it's 20 plus, or sometimes it can indicate that it just hasn't repriced yet. We can actually have information. You'll see this one actually doesn't have a min max set, so it probably just hasn't repriced. We'll just click on one as well. So we just kind of around what the title is, you click here, and this will bring up the repricing details pop up. So just basically more specific information about the SKU. You can also update things here as well. You can turn repricing, toggle it on off here. If repricing was off, you can click in here and manually enter a price. You can also update your min-max prices here as well. Or if you're updating one at a time, you could do so. We do have an option to do it by import as well, which will be much easier if you have loads of SKUs. Detailed tab just gives you some more information on the listing and the competitors. Just giving you your price, your position again. So some of this information that was actually shown on the front screen. And then you've got a graph again of all the prices. So the lowest price seller, highest price seller, buy box, your price, your min and max. And just see for in this example, we've actually got our min and max set too high to compete. So just stuff like that, it helps you indicate if you need to make any changes. So if we were live and repricing and selling, we would probably need to reduce that a good bit so we could compete. Buy box information for the last 7 days. This is a pretty good one here, where it shows you your average sale price and the average buy box price. So again, what was highlighted in this tab where we were sort of priced too high, you can see that here as well. So our average price is £47.20 and the average buy box price is £8. So we're way out in that where we're probably not going to make too many sales in that. That will indicate we really need to lower that. Sometimes you may even see that your average price is lower than the average buy box price, and it can also indicate where you can actually push your prices up as well to make a bit more profit. Competed with, moving on, this is you the top 5 competitors competed with, and this one's not showing any sellers at the moment. Sometimes it can mean there may not actually be a seller you competed with. For example, once we move over the rules, sometimes there can be a do not reprice option applied where you wouldn't be repricing against a specific seller. Sales tab and history tab. So sales is basically an overview of your orders the past 30 days, similar to what we've seen before on the dashboard, but per SKU. And history is kind of your repricing history of your price, so your Amazon price, your min price, and then we can see your max price as well. So yeah, it just gives you a lot of information there on the product. You can also, there's actually you guys there just searching for all active products. You can see we've got loads of options here to filter and you can search your products. So active, inactive, and repricing results for your minimum and maximum. Only seller, you're in the top 5, the top 20, sort of touched on the relevance of the top 20 there. Status, and is it repricing, is it not repricing, FBA, SKU, ASIN, title, and some on the buy box, position. So you can see there's loads of options there. So just like to move on to the repricing rules. And we'll focus on Amazon. So look at the Amazon material. So up at the top, you've got the rule name, the marketplace it's on, and you don't need to use this stuff, but if you wanted, you can put in a short description that just describes what you're looking to use the rule for. It might be handy if you might have a lot of rules, and just to quickly look at that and see what it's doing. For example, this one says beat by 1p or 1 cent. So that would indicate that's what we wanted to do. The first bit is the min-max prices section. You may or may not use this. Most of the customers will leave this as product min-max only, and it just means that the system will use the min-max set on product only. But you may use this option where you can say, okay, the product min-max is I want the min price to be 10% higher, 50% higher. It's kind of useful if you're using multiple marketplaces, you want to be slightly higher on one marketplace, add in postage, or even what you can do, and some customers will do, is basically set their min and max at whatever their cost is, and then if you know what percentage you want to mark up by, you can just easily stick in the percentage here, or a value, or you can both. And you can also set absolute values for the rule. So all products on this rule use this min and this max. But as I say, the first one is the most common setting. The compete with section is probably the most important section because you're setting here how you're actually competing against the different seller types. So you've got Amazon themselves, FBA, seller fulfilled prime, and merchant sellers. And you kind of want to reprice differently because that affects how you can win the buy box. So for example, Amazon are probably most likely to win the buy box, so you maybe want to be repricing below them by the most, because you'll need a price below by a higher amount to get the buy box. FBA sellers again will win the buy box much more easily over seller fulfilled prime and merchant fulfilled. specifically. Seller fulfilled prime is prime merchant sellers, which again will win the buy box much easier over MFN. So you can see the way we've got it set up. We're beating Amazon by 2%, FBA by 1p, actually matching seller fulfilled prime and 2% above merchant fulfilled sellers. A great thing about the way the rules work as well is because if you are a well-established FBA seller, you don't need to beat MFN and still win the buy box. So as here, you can actually price above. Now, what I wanted to mention is basically if there was like an FBA seller and a merchant seller really close together. So, for example, a FBA at £10 and a merchant seller at $9.99. So 2% above $9.99 is probably going to put you above the FBA seller, which will then maybe make you non-competitive. So instead of applying that setting, the real smart enough that it will apply the FBA setting instead, and hopefully get you into the buy box more. So a few other options on here as well. You see the tick box here, only apply these SFP and MFM repricing options if Amazon or FBA are not from the top 20. So again, the relevance of the top 20, we're only getting pricing notifications for the top 20 sellers. And if you're a well-established FBA seller, that might be an option for you. You can also tick here, buy box sellers, buy box eligible sellers. You can hover over these. You'll notice this free tab. Actually, there might be a question mark, and you can hover over that, and it'll basically give you a little explanation of what that is. But what this basically is sellers that are eligible to win the buy box. So it'll kind of like cancel out any brand new sellers or sellers that maybe have a lot of bad feedback and can't win the buy box at the moment. So you're only competing with sellers that kind of matter. And then once you tick this as well, you'll notice that another option has appeared, and that's to reprice only against the current buy box. So you can reprice against the cheapest, or tick this and reprice against the buy box. And that's kind of the basic settings. You can be a bit more advanced with it. It gives you more control. So you click on the show advanced settings and you'll see these options appear. So the first one is item condition, and this is mainly for if you're selling used products. If you're selling new, just leave it at match. Basically, new will reprice against new only, and used will reprice against used. But you'll see here the options. You have match or better, so only compete with the same used condition, or better, don't compete with a lesser condition. Or you can actually select used, and then you can actually select which used conditions you want to compete with. Again, the most common setting here will be match. Include exclude sellers. You'll just tick all of them here. Again, this allows you to just pinpoint what kind of sellers again you're repricing against. So only reprice against sellers with a certain level, percentage of feedback, total number of feedback within the past 12 months. Ship from location. You can do include exclude here. You can do it by specific seller IDs and also dispatch time as well. And just going on down, so I'll ask for a couple of options. So we have scenarios, which basically allows you to set exactly how your listings are repriced in certain situations. So if there's no competition, for example, if you're the only seller or possibly all the other sellers are above your maximum price, what do you want to do? Do not reprice, go to min or go to max. We click view options as well. It can be max minus a percentage or value, same with min, only to be plus. The two ones below this kind of are similar. So if competition is below your minimum, do not reprice, go to minimum, go to max. The two common ones are here are probably go to min or compete with next best seller. So compete with next best seller. If there is other sellers below your min, you'll reprice against the next cheapest above your minimum price. Same as this one, only this is if competition matches your minimum, so if they exactly match your minimum, go to min, go to max, or compete with next best seller. Again, the two common settings would be go to min or next best. Again, you've got those few options where you can add on. And then there's also if you're the buy box winner. So do not reprice, increase price every X number of minutes. You can put in the value and how often you want to reprice. You can also do a percentage here, or you can select reprice as normal. Reprice as normal is just basically the settings you have up here in the computer section. So that'll just keep you repricing, and probably the most competitive, because you'll keep repricing even when you're in the buy box. That should hopefully give you a higher buy box percentage. And we've also got this profit protection. So we do have a few settings which helps profitability rather than always repricing down. One of which being just on the buy box there, the increase in the price, and also in sleep mode here. So we click this, you basically set the time, click here to include, or actually that option, sorry, sets it to max, and include prices where you're in the buy box. So what this basically does is you set the time here, we'll set that between 1 and 2. So what it basically does is turns off repricing during that time and resets your prices to max. That's if you take that option. Also taking this for buy box. The reason the buy box is there as an option to take is because possibly if you mark up your price to max while you're in the buy box, you're probably going to lose the buy box. So it just gives you that option if you want to do it or not. But it basically resets your price to max once a day and has repricing turned off that time, hopefully pulling up the other sellers and just getting you a bit more profit as well. See another option here as well, inactives to max. One issue that our customers had previously highlighted to us is that when listings came back into stock, sometimes they were coming in at too cheap a price. So possibly what it was repriced at before, the other sellers have now priced up, and you come back online too cheap. And make a few lower price sales, we could have made a bit more profit. So as soon as it goes out of stock, you can select here to go to max. So you can come back in at max and then start repricing down and be in line with the other sellers. And that is pretty much the rule settings there. You can see, guys, there's loads of options there to really work whatever way you're repricing. You can also have multiple rules as well. One, I'd just like to touch into one of the other features that we have, which is called our automations. So back to the rules screen. So back on the rules screen, this gives the list of all our products here, or all of our rules, sorry. And you'll see here we've got marketplace default. It's ticked here for this for Amazon UK and this for Germany. If we want to, we could change that to another rule. But back to the automations, what the automations are basically, they allow you to have your listings automatically move from one rule to another based on a certain trigger. So one of the great options you can do on this is, we'll just go back into the rule a second. Mainly looking at the completeness section. So let's say we have everything set here to beat by a penny, and this will be our default rule. Beat by, so just have everything set to beat by a penny. Mentioned, and that could be your starting point. It doesn't have to be a penny. It could be whatever you think, whatever works for your business. Let's say we have one that is set to beat by a penny, and then we have a more aggressive rule that's set to beat by 10%, for example. So we would have a 1p rule and a 10% rule. And we'll just move on to the automation screen. So it's up here. You can see your repricing here for repricing rules, which is back to the rule page that we were just on there for automations. So you see we actually have one setup, and this is one of the options you can use. So sell off old stock. When stock age is greater than 36 months, move from this rule to this rule. So what the idea behind that is would be to try and get that sold off more quickly. So for example, let's say this is our 1p rule and this is our 10% rule. So by moving to that, hopefully it'll get your stock selling. We'll just go on and create a new one and have a look to see how the setup works on it. So we'll do from a blank automation. We do have a few templates that you can use there. Here, sorry. So sell full stock, which is one we were using. We also actually get, if you're going to be charged FBA long-term storage fees, again, you want to be moving those ones quickly. So you can say, again, just like we have that one, to move to the more aggressive rule to try and get things going. And then we've got the two ones that I always like to mention is the sales and then that one in the buy box. So I'm actually just going to just have a look at these. So you give it a name, set the channel, and then you choose the triggers. So the two ones I want to look, so have them on the buy box. So if you have them on the buy box in 3 days, move from rule A to rule B, basically. So if you were not on the buy box in the 1P rule, move to the 10% rule and hopefully start on the buy box. And you can have tiers of this as well. So you can move from rule A to rule B, from rule B to C, etc. Another one, as I mentioned, was sales. You got sales, which is a money value. You also have orders. If I can find it on the list, there we go. So when orders are greater than, less than, all the options you see there. So say if orders are less than 7 in the past 7 days, move again from rule A to rule B. So it just allows a bit of automation there, and you can still have the stuff that's selling on the default rule to kind of make the most profit by not pricing too low. But then you have your other more aggressive rule that catches everything that isn't working on the default rule, and it just reprices them a bit more aggressively to get them going, to get some sales on those as well. So that's kind of the basics, guys. Back to the dashboard. That's the basics of RepricerExpress. I'll just hand you guys back to Luke to continue on and just go over his experience he's had with our software.
I think really useful. If you guys do have any questions about any of that, just ask in the chat. This is what this is really for you to be able to ask any questions, anything you're not sure about. I'm sure Leigh will probably agree. It's hard to explain things that you're familiar with because you in someone's head, you don't know what they already know and what they don't know. So if there is anything that's been missed, just let us know there. Also just want to add now, I'll share a YouTube video that I created, which also covers some of those points and sort of my personal strategy. So I'll put that in the chat so you can check it out later if you want, and that might help as well. From there, we're just going to look to go over and I'm going to talk about sort of my repricing experience. So I'm going to go from when I started selling to where I am now. So to give you a bit of background, it's been pretty much a year since my first sale on Amazon. First sale was end of August 2018. Back then, well, pretty much since I started, I was using Amazon's own repricer with the build international listings feature to price high in the European marketplaces. I used Amazon's own repricer without sort of really considering much else until about January. I tried eQual for about a week and wasn't really happy with how it was working. From there, I went to an online arbitrage conference in April and heard about the release of software called Profit Protector Pro. It was in beta, but the issue I had was sort of people mentioning bugs. It wasn't sort of ready to be fully used yet, and I wanted something that I can just set and then let it do its thing, and that's where I really like RepricerExpress. Anyway, I was signed into grandfather rate on Profit Protector Pro, so I kind of wanted to use that. It's very cheap, but it just didn't really suit my needs in terms of not being customizable. With Profit Protector Pro, I couldn't choose my own rules. There's only template rules that didn't know exactly sort of how they worked. So that wasn't really for me, and so I started trying RepricerExpress almost 2 months ago, and I think the biggest sales point to me, or what I really like about it, is the ability to create rules that do pretty much exactly what you want them to, and then with automations you can transfer them between those rules. So in that YouTube video I go over how I've got multiple rules for each marketplace, and the automations will transfer between those rules depending on different scenarios. So for example, I have a rule that will go from my default rule to, an automation that will take me from my default rule to another rule if I don't receive any orders for over a 2-week period. That's just one automation I have, and I'm sort of playing around with it more and more, trying to get used to it, and it's going really well for me. I think it can be a bit daunting because there are so many options, but honestly, once I got started, it's really been worthwhile. And I think that one of the key things, support has been awesome. You can probably see down at the bottom there on Leigh's screen, there's a support chat window. And sort of every time I've had a query within business hours, they'll get straight back to me on the chat window. Even if I've messaged when I'm doing stuff at sort of 7-8 p.m. expecting to only get something back over email the next day, normally I get something back within an hour or two. So I've been really impressed with that. And yeah, I haven't really got anything bad to say. I guess, being sort of honest, the only sort of slight disadvantage against other stuff is that it probably is a bit daunting to set up, but I think that's also the biggest advantage, because you're not just selecting a template rule. You can really dive deep and customize exactly to how you want to reprice and set it exactly to your business needs. I think that's a really great feature. In terms of the results, from July to August, my sales actually increased by 75%, which I think majority is down to using RepricerExpress, which I'm really happy with. And I think not only increase in sales volume, but also I've noticed my ROI on items increasing. I think this is a big thing. If you compare it with Amazon Automate, Amazon's own repricer, which I was using, it doesn't have the features like the sleep mode. It doesn't have features like repricing upwards. If someone's priced lower than your minimum, it'll just sit at your minimum, and even if they sell out, it'll still stay at your minimum price. With Amazon, with RepricerExpress, as Leigh talked about, you can customize it so it matches the next seller within that minimum and maximum range, and it will constantly be repricing, and not only reprice downwards but also upwards. So I don't want to go into it too much because I do talk about it in the YouTube video, and Leigh's covered a lot of great points. But that's sort of my experience, and I'm really happy with how RepricerExpress is going for me. And I think one of the biggest things as well is just saving time. Like I got up to the point where I had about 100 items live in Amazon, and I was probably spending an hour or two to properly reprice my items every day, just because I had to check them with Amazon. Now with RepricerExpress, I've got strategies for all different scenarios. So, for example, if there's only MF sellers at like £100 when an item's previously sold at 40 quid, I can set it as a fixed price at about £60 if I want to, or I can have a strategy if there's only MF sellers where I'll price, as Leigh mentioned, you can price higher against MF sellers and FBA seller and still win the buy box. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy, and I think if people do want to ask questions, it's a really good time because you've got someone here who knows RepricerExpress inside and outside of it completely. So yeah, utilize the time. I don't know if there's anything you want to add there, Leigh.
Yeah, so just some slides I want to go through, just some additional info on RepricerExpress. So I'll just bring up, guys, 1 second. Okay. So demo, went through that. All right, so guys, just some tips, touching on just the way we need to start off. excuse me, with RepricerExpress. So start in safe mode. We've got safe mode and live mode. Whenever you sign up, you will automatically be in safe mode first. And basically what safe mode is, it allows you to get things set up your rules. Your listings will reprice, but within RepricerExpress only, it won't upload to Amazon. So that'll just give you time to make sure you're happy with all the settings and rules and the prices that it's calculating before going live. Then you can switch to live mode and then actually starting to update prices on Amazon. set your min-max prices, obviously important. The system needs to know the range for each SKU and won't reprice a SKU until you set a min-max. Multiple repricing rules, which kind of myself and Luke have touched on, where you might need different rules for different scenarios, using automations, or maybe just have a manual, multiple rules where there could be a set of products, for example, where you just know beating by 1p doesn't work on these set of products. So I'm going to have these set up to beat by 25p and everything else 1p, or kind of whatever suits your business. You can be really flexible there. Check on your repricing and buy box tabs regularly. So that's back to what I showed initially, the demo of the dashboard. That's kind of where you're sort of seeing where you're at, what your products are doing, what your buy boxes are, and just keeping an eye on that and make sure everything's ticking along nicely as you need. Increase profits with our features such as sleep mode, where I mentioned on the row, where you can reset your prices to max once a day. There's also if you're the buy box winner, increase while you're in the buy box to get more profit while you're in the buy box, and repricing against the next cheapest seller and stuff like that. So make use of those features in the rule. So just moving on from that to the types of repricing that you have. So you've got manual repricing, and that's kind of, you probably will start off with that when you start selling on Amazon. And that's fine if you've got a few products or if you are just starting off. But as you probably find yourself, like as you mentioned there, about saving time and stuff, once you start to grow, and even if you don't have that many products, it's just great to have it done all automatically for you rather than spending hours or whatever per day checking prices and stuff. You can use Amazon Automated. It's a free service that Amazon use, but as Luke, you also mentioned that there's a few negative reasons why you wouldn't want to use that, where they can reprice your listings at min and sort of within there, so it doesn't really help with profit, although it might get you sales, you might be getting lower value sales and not making as much profit as you could be making. And that's where we come in, where you can be a bit more advanced in the rules and just really have so much control on the way your listings are repricing. So it's up to you what is best for your business. You're able to choose whatever option you want to do, and we're always here if you want to choose ourselves. So just from that onto the benefits. So as Luke actually touched on, he noticed a really good increase in sales. So when using RepricerExpress, you should notice a good increase in sales and profits. And if you don't notice that, get in touch. Maybe there's an incorrect setting in your rule that's maybe not working right for you. Get in touch. We've got email support and live chat support. Live chat's available from around half 9 a.m. till 5:15 UK time, Monday to Friday. You'll get email support up until around 9 p.m. on the weekend as well. Just then the other benefits is kind of really already touched on these. The advanced rules, just allowing you to compete with whatever you like. And then the options of pricing upwards when the conditions are right, and that works. And then our support. We mentioned at the start we will have an offer for you guys. So our usual trial is 15 days, and there's going to be a promo code, so you guys can get a 30-day free trial, so double what you normally get. We'll get to that at the end. Just quickly going through some of the features. So we think it will set up the software in a way where it's quite easy to set up. The system will take you through the setup step by step. Kind of steps are putting in your details to register, linking your Amazon account, and then downloading your products, and then just going through the setup where creating your first repricing rule, setting your min-max prices, and starting repricing. And again, just to emphasize, we're always there to help if you need any help getting set up. There's 13 Amazon marketplaces that you can link up with RepricerExpress. You can see the flags at the top there. So we've got Amazon UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, US, Canada, Mexico, Australia, Japan, and India. And we have continuous repricing, which is able to initiate immediately when there's price changes. We're part of Amazon's partnership network, so we're certified Amazon partner. This allows us to use their API. Just to go into a bit more detail on that and how it works, so I sort of touched on this in the demo, but it just allows you to reprice basically as fast as Amazon allow you. So how it works is the top 20 cheapest sellers, whenever there is a price change, Amazon sends a price notification message. That comes in the RepricerExpress, which we immediately process a price change, and then price updates are sent to Amazon every few minutes. They have a limit to the number of files you can upload per hour. It's 30 per hour, so the fast is every 2 minutes, which RepricerExpress does. Every 2 minutes, price uploads are sent to Amazon. And then Amazon say they can take up to 15 minutes to process those files once in their system, but they can do that quicker than that usually. Excuse me. So again, just to mention the safe mode there. It's always good to stay in safe mode initially, just to make sure you've got the right settings and everything's working as you need. So many options on the rules, which is we have went over in different strategies. Again, we're always there to help if you need any assistance with that at all. The filter in which we showed there on the exploit section of the rules, where you can do seller rating, feedback, country, dispatch times, all mentioned there. And then the price increases again, which can really help with increasing your profits and just getting that extra bit of profit out of each sale always helps. And look, I think I jumped the gun a bit on the demo. I got the order mixed up, guys.
Yeah, so I guess as I talked about my experience there, I just want to sort of say, I think Susan's pointed out in the chat that she's new to Amazon and currently has 300 products, spending hours a day repricing. And yeah, I guess it got to a similar point for me. I got to about 100, where I was like, for quite a while, just sort of 100, 150 products. Now I'm up to about 250 to about 300 on average. And yeah, I couldn't live without a repricer, because it's just, think about what else you could be doing with that time. If you're spending hours a day, think about what else you could be doing. So I think for me, like, as you kind of mentioned, if you're starting out, it's something that's nice to have, but probably not essential. But I think if you do get to the point where you've got a lot of live items, you kind of really need it. It's just going to, one, save you a lot of time. Two, probably going to reprice better than you could do manually, because if someone's repricing automatically, you're not going to keep up. And three, just the ability compared to sort of Amazon Ultimate to reprice upwards and really customize those rules. Yeah, it's really beneficial. But as Leigh touched on, do have a special offer for anyone who does sign up for the free trial. So usually, as we mentioned, there's a 15-day trial period. For anyone who signs up with the promo code iGen 30 will get 30 days free, and I've actually got a link which I'll post in the chat to make it easier to access. Just let me copy that. And also on top of that, just to make things even better, I've decided to throw in an hour free coaching call for anyone who tries out the free trial. So you don't even have to stay. You can just sign up to the free trial and cancel if you want, and I'm still willing to give you an hour free training call there. So I think that's sort of really good value. I've had a few calls with people over the past week just to sort of help some sellers out, and they've sort of really benefited from that. So I'm willing to help out a few more people there. And yeah, a few more points there. There's no long-term contracts. You can sign up to that free trial. There's no credit. You don't need to add into any credit card details. So you can cancel if you want after that trial period. But if you decide to stay on, you can take it a month at a time. No long-term contracts. And yeah, it's trusted by thousands of Amazon sellers. And the reason I went for RepricerExpress personally is because of speaking to a few big sellers who I know who use RepricerExpress and are happy with it and have been happy for years. So yeah, that's the offer. I think we're going to touch on the questions now, but I see Susan has one, and she asked, is there training available? It seems very in-depth. From my point of view, I don't know if there's exact training available, but I know there's a lot of content on the RepricerExpress website. So I use blog posts, I use the videos there. There's tons of information to take you through all of the features. As mentioned as well, what I found really, really useful was support. Whenever I had a question, I posted in a live chat and I got an answer almost instantaneously, which was really, really useful for me. I don't know, Leigh, if there's anything else you want to add there in terms of sort of training information available.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, yeah, we've got a lot of content. We've got a YouTube channel with a lot of videos going through stuff. We've got a health center with loads of help links where you can just search and see what you're looking for. And see if you can find a help find. If you can't find anything online, you're still not sure, or even as Luke mentioned, the live chat is just again 9:30 until 5:15 Monday to Friday UK time. So just jump on, ask us a question. We're always here to help. We can work through things with you. If as you mentioned, Susan, about it looking very in depth, we can review your rules stuff and sort of make suggestions for you. There is also, if you want to get things set quickly, you can. There's templates that you can use. So we have one, for example, which is P51P. You can just click on that, use this template. But again, we're always there to help. So make use of the support, guys. We're always happy to help.
Yeah, I hope that helps, Susan. And if you do have any other sort of questions, let us know. Jonathan's asked, what is the price after the 30 days? I'll let you take that one, because I know what the one plan is, but I don't know.
Yeah, so if you want to have a look at the prices, you're best going to the website. Just actually type it into the chat here. Just making sure I'm spelling that right, guys. All right, so if you click on that, you guys should see pricing at the very top. The pricing is based off the total number of listings. So the first plan is up to 2,500, and it's up to 5,000, 10,000, and so on. So you'll be able to see the prices there. The 2,500 plan starts at £39 plus VAT. As I say, you can see the list of the other plans there on the pricing page.
Yeah, I think the key thing to point out there is just the amount of money. Sort of, I think you touched on it, saying the extra profit generated will more than cover the cost of that repricer. As I sort of said, my sales have increased by 75% from July to August, and like that's quite a lot of money at the volume that I'm doing. And not only that, but it's just a time save. I think, Susan, as you said, you're spending hours a day there. So I honestly really recommend just getting a repricer if you don't already use one. And I mean, there's nothing really to use if you just utilize the free trial there.
Just to touch on the price as well, guys. So we mentioned that there's no long-term contracts. Just to touch on as well, I'm not sure if we mentioned that about no commission. So some softwares might actually charge you a commission on your sales. We don't. It's a set fee, and that's it. But as I say, you can pay month to month. There's no contracts, but there is an option to pay in advance. So if you pay for 6 months in advance, you can get a 10% discount. If you pay for the full year, you get 50% discount. So that's there as an option. You might not want to do that at the very start, just to make sure you're happy with the software. But what you can do is pay monthly for the first 3 months, for example, and then choose to switch then whenever you like.
Cool. All right. Yes, I think we had a few questions now before the webinar, which we can move on to. And if anyone else does have anything, just let us know. Yes, let me just get those up. So the first question was, I think, a few in one. So we'll tackle it one at a time. And the first thing they asked was, what do you do to set the minimums in spreadsheets before uploading the minimums onto RepricerExpress? So they say, is there a system that you use to apply those minimums? And so they're kind of curious about if you have different sort of ROIs for items and profit margins, how do you do that on mass? So I think for me personally, the way I tackle the different target ROIs for items is my base minimum, which is like, correct me if I'm wrong, Leigh, but that's the global minimum for all of the rules. So you have a base min and then a calculated min, which is, as Leigh showed, you can, in a rule, you can change the minimum or the maximum by a percentage or an amount. So my base min I set as 15% ROI. And then for different rules, I'll have different adjustments to that minimum price. So I'll start at 15% ROI, but my default rule will actually increase that minimum by, I think it was around 3%, which takes the ROI up to around 20%, if I remember that right. And you can have different rules to adjust that differently. So whilst my default rule, my default base minimum ROI, which I set for all of my items, is 15%, the actual default rule will boost that ROI up. And obviously you can change the rules for different items as you need to. In terms of the import feature, I used that when I was setting my initial minimum maxes, and it's probably the most efficient way to do things. But me personally, I actually get a virtual assistant to just do it through the actual software itself. So that's just me personally, but they know literally all they have to do is calculate the price, which they have the cost of purchase. All they do is enter that into the fee calculator, whatever they use, like Buybot Pro, FBA Multitool. That will give them the price needed to get 15% ROI, and they enter that into the min. And then the max is just a fixed multiple of the the buy box price, and that's the minimum max. So that's what I do personally. I don't know, do you have any sort of tips there, Leigh, or anything that you can recommend?
Yeah, so that's the one way of doing it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. One of the ways you could possibly make use of Microsoft Excel's formulas, where you might have a spreadsheet that has your cost, your Amazon fees, shipping, basically everything, and then I'll create your final min-max values marked up by whatever profit percentage you want to, and then we do have a spreadsheet that you can then copy that information over to and then put that in bulk into RepricerExpress. And that would be, so if you've included everything in that, you don't need to use the rule. So you just have your base min, and that might be the same as your calculated min. Or another way is how Lucas described. Another way is some customers do it this way, where they set min and max at cost. So just whatever your cost price is, your min and max is at cost, and then from the rule, you mark up the min and the max by different values. And again, you can do that by a percentage of value, and just make sure you're including all your cost, fees, and everything again. We also have automated options, which are maybe additional fees for. If you're interested in that, just get in touch with support and we can have a look at that for you. But basically, for example, you wanted to automatically link up to your supplier, for example, and you could use that option where I mentioned, where you were setting both min and max at cost. So grab your cost prices from your supplier and then use a rule to mark it up. Or if you had your own system, your inventory management system, where you actually had min-max or something there that you wanted to pull it in from, we may be able to do that as well. So get in touch with support for any of those options.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's really useful. And I just wanted to sort of reiterate that there are a lot of guides, sort of blog posts and videos that I found useful when I was getting set up, and the support or the live chat's really good there. But hopefully that helped whoever asked that question. I think that one's more, it's kind of on the similar point. They say, what system do you use to set your minimums if all your ROIs are different? So I think we kind of covered that. And the way I do that personally is I have that base 15% minimum ROI. And then when I'm sourcing items, I'll make notes about how I'm going to reprice it to different strategies. And I'll have different rules, which will have different min-maxes and also different ways that they compete against other sellers. I think that's kind of been answered already. Or did you have anything else to add there?
Yeah, as you said, I think we've kind of covered.
Yeah. And then last question that we had was, do I have to use the same min or max for all the marketplaces?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, all the questions on the min max. I mean that is pretty important. In regards to repricing, that is the range that your listings are going to reprice. So it's really important that these are set correctly, so that your price within the right range. So we have two min max account settings that you can have, which is called global and channel. So global min-max settings, you will basically have one min-max per SKU for all channels. So and it'll be set in your base currency. So for example, let's say you're using Amazon UK along with Amazon Germany and France. And your base currency, you're based in the UK, so your base currency is going to be pounds. So you'll set your min-max in pounds. The software will automatically convert to euros for you for Germany and France. And then within that rule as well, say for example the France rule, if you knew it was €5 to reprice, or sorry, to ship to France, but say 10 to ship to Germany. So what you would do is within the rule for France, add on €5, and within the rule for Germany, €10. So add on those amounts to those marketplaces only and won't affect Amazon UK. That'll just stay at the base min-max price that you've set in your initial pound value, and the currency rates are updated daily as well for any changes in fluctuation. Then we have channel min-max. So that's if you want to have a completely separate min-max for each channel. So using the same example, the same three marketplaces. So the one SKU will have three min-max prices. So one min-max for Amazon UK set in pounds, one min-max for Amazon France set in euros, and another set in euros again for Amazon Germany. So yeah, you actually have the option there to do either or. I'm not sure if it's my PC clip, but I can't actually hear you there.
Again, sorry. So yeah, thanks. Thank you everyone for joining. That brings us to the end of the questions and the webinar. If you are in the live chat and do have any more questions, let us know. If you are watching this on a replay and you have any questions, you can get in contact with the email on the slide there, support@RepricerExpress.com. You can also feel free to message me, Luke Filer, and you'll find me in the iGen Entrepreneur Facebook group. But yeah, apart from that, thank you everyone very much. Thank you for joining us. If you do want to take advantage of that offer, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial with the link provided, and I'll leave that offer open for the free 1-hour coaching call as well for about a week, and then from there I'll get into contact with anyone who has taken up the offer and we can arrange the coaching call. But yeah, thank you very much for joining, and thank you, Leigh, for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. And again, thanks everybody for joining and watching.
Cheers. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you soon.
Bye.